Brad the Car Guy here, and today it's going to be a viewer request video. I've had quite a few people ask me about taking the shocks off of the Xterra. It seems intimidating at first, but it's actually quite simple. All you need to do is lift the front end of your car, move one thing out of the way, which is the sway bar, and then take the shock out. I've already got the Xterra jacked up and the wheels off, but if you need help getting the proper lift points on the Xterra, just click on the suggested video up above, and that'll show you how to do it. On our scale of 1 to 10 difficulty, I'd say it's about a 3. It's pretty straightforward. Let's get started and you'll see how easy it is. Now the only thing that's making this job more than just dead simple is the sway bar. And the sway bar is in the way of the lower mounting bolt for the shock, and so we need to get that out of the way. How we're going to do that is we're going to remove the sway bar link, the top connector for the sway bar link that goes into the sway bar, on both sides, and then you have to swing the sway bar down out of the way. If you feel that you need new sway bar links, now is absolutely the time to do it because you are going to be halfway there already when you take these links off. Now the top connector for the sway bar link is right here. We want to pull this off, and you do see that there is a hex head hole in the top, so if you do find that it's spinning, you can put a hex head in there, then put a wrench on the nut, and then you're able to back it off. The nut is 17 millimeter, so just start taking that off. Now I just recently replaced mine, so I didn't have to put the hex head in, but if it has been a while, that will likely be kind of seized up, and you'll just spin the whole unit. So I'm going to go do this on the other side, and then we're going to swing the sway bar right out of the way. So I removed the sway bar links, just the top connectors on both sides, and I just pushed the link back further away from the sway bar and just slid the stud out. So now that I've done that, you'll see that the sway bar link will actually move freely. So you don't have to push it very far. Just push it down far enough that this bolt right here is able to slide all the way out at the bottom of the shock. Once you do that, that's all you need to do. The rest is just taking the mounting bolts off of the shock and removing it. So let's do that. Now the next part of this is really important. You want to get a jack and you want to support the lower control arm with the jack before taking out any bolts of the shock. The shock is what's holding the whole assembly up. So when we take out that lower bolt, the assembly will drop. Now we want to make sure that you're supporting the actual control arm, not the sway bar link mount. You'll see that at the bottom. You don't want that there. You want it right on the actual control arm. Once you have that done, it's just the lower mount on the shock. It's a 19 millimeter. I have a wrench on one side. I'm going to put an impact on the other, and we're going to take that bolt out. Once the bolt's out, then we're going to control how much we lower the control arm just by lowering the jack or raising it back up when we're ready to put the new one back in. Now I took the nut off, and I'm actually going to leave the bolt in there for now. That way it's not kind of flapping around when we're taking the nuts on the top off. Now this next bit, I just took a photo for you. It's really hard to see with the camera. I couldn't really get it in there very well. But it's just at the very top of the strut, there is just 3 nuts, because you have 3 bolts on the actual plate sticking through this mount. You just have to remove those 3, and then the assembly will come out. Again, make sure you have your jack in place and that it's actually touching the control arm, and then take those 3 bolts out. Now I've removed the 3 nuts on the top studs, and it's already kind of moving around a little bit. So I'm still going to leave that bolt in the bottom, but just ever so slightly lower this whole assembly here. Now as you're doing this, I want you to be sure that there's no stress on your brake lines, your speed sensor line, that you're not pinching anything, that nothing looks like it's being stressed too far. So what you want to see is this here. See how we have freedom of movement now? Now this will, that's because obviously your shock is now released on the top, so we just want to take the bolt out of the bottom. Okay, hold on to it, and then let it drop there, and then we may need a little bit more room. Yep, we do. So I'm going to drop this a little bit more, give us some more space, push down, and then pull it out. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Set that aside, make sure this is back in place, and that it's holding it exactly where you want it, because again, we don't want this flapping around. And then we want to take this assembly and replace it. Now I very highly recommend that you just purchase this exactly the way it is. You can buy these preloaded. All the bushings are in, the bearings in, it's already greased. It literally comes as assembly. You buy it like this, you slap it back in, reverse what we just did, and you're done. Now if you do want to actually compress the spring and remove it, then you can do that. I have a video, I've already done that on an Audi TT. You can just click here for that video. I'm also going to do a video on the rear shocks of the Xterra. That video will be right here when it's ready. If it's not, then it's going to be some other video. And don't forget to check out rtcg.tv and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, any product links and torque specs for putting this back together are going to be in the description below.